All right, so we are watching The Empire Strikes Back. This movie doesn't have so many changes in it this time, so I think any copy after they made the Blu-ray should work just fine with syncing up. All right, beginning in 3, 2, 1.
I've not watched this movie in quite some time.
It has been a while for me as well. Although the new 4K 80, the restoration of this film, was released quite recently, and I need to download that.
Oh, that actually sounds pretty cool.
I have the beta version, but not the official one yet. Here we go. The famous text.
I don't think anyone will ever think of a more iconic opening thing.
Maybe Once Upon a Time.
I guess.
But this is
that's for books.
Yeah, but that's also pretty much the exact same thing.
I guess.
Which is kind of funny. Oh, here we go. Episode 5. Which must have confused a lot of people seeing that. Because they did re-release A New Hope and gave it the new title back in the 80s before The Empire Strikes came out. Sorry. But, yeah, that must be really strange if you hadn't seen that. Like, what does Episode 5 mean? I won't try to read this again because I screwed it up the last time.
I nailed it last time, but I don't want to do it.
Well, yeah. We get the idea. The rebels had to run away. Darth Vader's obsessed with Luke Skywalker. He's trying to find him. And they're just, chilling on Hoth. Chilling being the optimal word.
I think what would have been just absolutely ridiculous.
What?
You're sitting there as a little kid.
Yeah.
You just saw A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
The anticipation.
Yeah.
When another Star Wars gets announced where you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, 3 years of build-up. For something like that. And this comes out. Like an absolute kick in the nuts, right?
And I think people too, I don't think people in the moment liked Empire.
It was controversial, but not nearly as how some people make it out to be. But
I
definitely,
think
some of the creative decisions threw some people off, for sure.
Well, I think compared to how much it's beloved now and considered how good it, how people,
Yeah.
how good people consider it now.
Yeah, there's some retroactive thoughts on that, yeah, for sure. Also, all the original trilogy movies opens with a Star Destroyer. And this is the only one where it's coming towards the screen instead of away from it.
I spilled my drink all over myself.
Oh, no.
I'm a literal child.
Literal child, yeah. Here, you can play with my Lobot toy I brought. There you go.
No, that thing is too expensive for me to touch. I don't want the responsibility.
I think it was $10.
No, it's still too rich for me.
Yeah.
They really upped the effects in this one, I think.
And the location footage, too.
Also true. But they had way more budget, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. Well, especially with the success of Star Wars, they were really quite willing to put some money out. There's a little stop-motion Tauntaun.
Yeah, the Tauntauns looked amazing.
They still do.
They still hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's some shots where they look a little wonky, but, the close-ups, I think, is where the Tauntauns really shine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that anymore. Also, there's a good old wonky-faced Luke.
Mark Hamill looking miserable as can be.
Although, honestly, as a kid, I never noticed that his face changed.
Well, yeah, it's a big time jump, too. 3 years. People look different. But definitely going back and seeing how he looked before and how he looks now. Bit of difference, for sure. I like how the first shot of Han we see is not even of Han Solo. It's a really far away, him on the Tauntaun.
It's probably not even him.
Well, no, because it's a miniature. He's this tall.
Harrison Ford's I'm not going out there.
I'm not going in the cold. Wampa attack.
Didn't they think about doing the Wampa digitally, and then they did it, and they're like, "Damn, this looks awful." Or am I thinking of something else?
Maybe thinking of something else. They redid some, or they made some new shots that are coming up in the cave. I think that stuff there's all original though. Oh, there's Treadwell again. But also look at all the people. They got wielders and stuff. This is a big jump from what they had in the last movie.
Damn, that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they gave Chewie way more dialogue.
Yeah, he does. Well,
Because in the first one, he doesn't say or do a whole lot. In this, he's much more of a character.
yeah, not a whole lot of talking in that first one either. Yeah. This shot appears again later on, but reversed.
Yeah, they reuse shots a lot in Star Wars. I won trivia one time because I knew that Empire and Return of the Jedi were not also directed by George Lucas. And the question was, which Star Wars films, granted this was before the new trilogy, which Star Wars films were directed by George Lucas? And I was like, actually, it's not all of them. And they're like, yeah, it is. And I was like, no, it's not. Look it up.
Yeah.
They looked it up and they're like, oh shit, he's right.
This is General Rekan. He's a pretty famous like American actor working in Britain. He appears in some Faulty Towers. He appears in Full Metal Jacket. And in those movies, he's got a much higher pitched voice. He's like, you've got a peace sign on your shirt and you got Born to Kill written on your helmet. What do you think, this is some kind of a sick joke?
Who did the cinematography of Star Wars? It actually looks so good.
It looks really good, yeah.
Like, now that I'm sitting here, like, actively, like, thinking about it, who was the cinematographer? Because it's solid.
I will look it up. Well, I know we got Irvin Kershner directing, and he's pretty good with visuals. But we'll see.
Like, it's something I never thought of as a kid, but now that I've ruined myself by going to film school and then now editing school, it just looks solid. Even the lighting, like, I think too the whole will they won't they of Leia and Han in this one, with the weird love triangle of Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
It goes a little far, but I think it's done pretty well.
Yeah. So the cinematographer is Peter Shusinski.
What else did he do? I don't recognize
The Rocky
him.
Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
And Mars Attacks.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be someone more recognizable.
Yeah, I don't know if if he's that well known, really. Oh, C-3PO's back and he's, well, clean at least.
No, he still looks pretty dirty. Look at the back of his head and everything. Like, he looks like he's got some rust on there.
True. But he's not like dripping with oil like he was last time.
I think the issue that I have with a lot of new movies is they make everyone look way too clean.
That's true, yeah.
Like, I know that the main characters in this still seem pretty clean, but I don't know, there's just something about this that feels a little bit more authentic.
Yeah.
Like, he's got snow on his jacket, or like things like that, whereas you see a lot of other things, they just look clean all the time. Like, that guy's got like a stained coat there in the background.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's just something about it. Everyone always looks clean. No one looks weathered. Like,
There's John Ratzenberger.
Like, it doesn't look like, oh, this is just what they wear all the time at work.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I think that's just a weird complaint to have, but it is one that I feel a lot of films don't get right, is everyone just always looks like they came fresh from the laundry.
Yeah, everyone's been nice and dry cleaned. Yeah. Yeah, this is where we start to see some of the remade shots. Not this exact shot, I don't think, but well, you'll notice it when you see the Tauntaun actually appear on screen, and that'll be just like a hand or a face.
I like that they retconned, or not retconned. I like that they specifically gave them this scene so that Mark Hamill didn't have to feel bad about his face.
I've heard that. I don't know if that's entirely true, though. I think it might be.
I'm gonna believe that it's true.
It fits very well as an urban legend. Let's just say.
You're not taking this away from me.
I'll try.
I want to know how the big ice monster guy, I can't think what he's called, a Wampa. There we go.
Yeah. See, these shots.
How did the Wampa get him frozen into the ceiling?
Spit.
He spit on his feet.
Yeah.
Like stuck him up there.
You lick them and just stuck them. It's like when you lick a flagpole or something.
Like, I never thought about that till now, but like, how did Luke get in there? Like, because he's in there.
Oh yeah, he's frozen in there. Yeah. But yeah, these shots of the Wampa are remade for the special edition, and they are really nice actually. Like, that's one of the few special edition changes I think is pretty effective. Because it's like an actual guy in a costume. It's got that kind of craftsmanship to it. It doesn't look like a big pile of CGI garbage. course, it doesn't really match the other shots, but it's pretty good.
I haven't really noticed so far.
Yeah, just the shape of the costume is a bit different between some of the shots, matching the old and the new. It's not perfect, but it works. People are convinced by it, you know.
If I remember correctly from my childhood behind-the-scenes knowledge, this shot is they're standing in the hotel, and they open the door, shoot Mark Hamill just running around outside in the snow.
Pretty much, yeah.
And they just were standing inside like, oh yeah, look at him go.
Well, there goes Luke Skywalker. Keep going, Mark. Keep running. 5 more laps, please. One of R2's many attachments.
Yeah, how does he store them all in there?
Magic? I don't know. I assume...
The Force.
Yeah, the Force. The Force is strong with this droid.
Honestly, based on what the new movies and show are doing, R2 probably is Force sensitive.
You know, you can make that argument. Considering all the stuff he has to go through, he deserves it at least.
Poor Luke, having to run out in the snow by himself while everyone stands inside and drinks hot cocoa.
Yeah. Apparently this was like a record cold year when they filmed this. Because a lot of this stuff was in Norway.
I feel like they didn't need to go to Norway for this.
Well, yeah, probably not.
I mean, it does look really good, but I feel like you get this same effect down the street from my house.
Yeah, just come to Canada. Film Star Wars here.
Well, it'd probably cost them less.
Or they can go on a soundstage and just blow a whole bunch of asbestos at each other. Like in The Wizard of Oz.
And they're like, okay, Mark, you may get cancer, but it's worth it.
It's worth it for this one shot that we're going to delete. See, the old Star Wars tech is great because it's like big-ass remote controls, cables, wires, and everything.
Well, there is a philosopher thing, or I don't know. I heard this quote somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where. And I think I said this last time.
You might have.
But the tech of the future is based on the tech of the present. Mm-hmm. And it's just so accurate in Star Wars. Is like they have futuristic technology, but it looks like technology straight out of the 70s and the 80s. It's just one of those things where you like... Also, to them, why would you move away from buttons? And now we don't even have buttons on anything nowadays.
Pretty much, yeah. Also, the acting from Peter Mayhew in this is probably the most effective I've seen him ever do. Just this, like, pained cry. And just the defeat of how he was hanging his head earlier.
Yeah, Chewbacca really is pretty good in this one.
I think it's probably his best movie.
So is Carrie Fisher, though.
Yeah. Oh, she's really good, yeah.
No wonder everyone likes Empire.
It's so good.
Also, look at that. Yeah, look at that
all
oil.
that grease and oil just coming off of that.
You wouldn't see that in a modern movie. That thing would be pristine.
Yeah. C-3PO's like standing as far away from it as he can. I am not getting dirty again, R2.
The classic Star Wars wipe.
Classic wipe to Luke Skywalker's corpse.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't even look like he's breathing.
He looks dead.
Luke. Oh, I saw this really interesting video.
Yeah.
In an argument about why Qui-Gon was able to appear as a Force ghost to Obi-Wan. Because apparently people were annoyed about that. I was like, whatever.
I loved it. But I love Qui-Gon. He's my favorite character in Star Wars.
But the logic of it was, as you become more powerful in the Force, right? Mm-hmm. Luke is able to see more Force ghosts. Okay, so starting out, he's like Obi-Wan is only able to appear to him as just like a voice in the first one.
Yeah.
And this one, at first, Luke's slowly starting to gain some more power in the Force. He kind of appears to him. He's kind of see-through. He's not really there.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when Luke is fully immersed in the Force, he shows up full body, full, just him there hanging out.
Yeah, okay.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi, they're kind of more corporeal. They're touching branches and stuff and sitting on counters. Yeah, no, I can see that. But does that also apply into the sequel movies, or are we just going to ignore those?
I'm going to ignore those.
Yeah, we're not going to try to force that square peg in the round hole.
That's a...
Because by that logic,
$1 billion peg mistake that should have gone into a pretty fixable mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, Rey should have been seeing all this Force ghosts right off the bat with how strong she ends up being.
I don't even inherently have a problem with Rey being strong. It's just the way they made her strong.
It feels unearned is the problem.
Exactly.
Whereas this, we see the troubles and turbulations of poor Luke Skywalker here as he gets shoved into the corpse of an animal. And Han goes to build an igloo. which would have been really funny to see. Just a whole scene of him just doing that.
Like, it just makes characters not relatable, you know?
100%.
Because my life sucks, and I gotta actually try to get things, not just magically be able to do anything.
Oh, I knocked Lobot over. Stand back up. There we go.
That poor Tauntaun.
Yeah, poor Tauntaun.
How wet do you think it would be in there?
Yeah, wouldn't it freeze pretty quickly?
Presumably.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Well, okay. Theoretically, the Tauntaun is insulated, and then
Theoretically,
Han
yeah.
does dig a big hole for them.
Yeah, he gets out of there pretty quickly.
So he maybe has like a magic force shovel.
I think he might have a shovel, just a regular shovel.
Or he had like a tent.
This was your father's light shovel.
Or maybe they have one of those like sand displacer things from Dune.
Yeah, just some big tunneling machine or like something like that, yeah.
Man, I want this guy's job. All you have to do, show up, say a couple lines, fly around in a what are these called?
Snow speeder.
Yeah, fly around in a snow speeder, and now you're in Star Wars.
Yeah. He's got more to do later when the battle actually starts.
Yeah, but not really.
He gets a bloody nose. He's one of the few people who bleeds in Star Wars.
Man, that looks good.
With his little antenna sticking out of it. I love it. And here we are.
How'd they all fit in there?
I don't know, actually. They just towed Luke underneath. Strapped him on like a deer or something. I love the pan kind of following him up. Oh, see, look at R2. He's all clean. I love how this movie really ramps up the gibberish. You scruffy looking nerf herder.
Steve, if anyone here is a scruffy looking nerf herder, it's you.
Yeah, I know. I got that Chewbacca look.
I got that wonky Mark Hamill faced look.
Yeah, he got Mark Hamill 10 days after the car accident look.
I actually like Mark Hamill. Sorry, Mark Hamill, if you ever hear about this or meet me. I don't mean it.
No, he's a tremendous actor.
Half-witted.
Ooh, scruffy looking.
I want to know what a nerf is. Like, what's a nerf in Star Wars? Because presumably people heard nerfs, and that's an insult. But what about nerf hurting is an insult?
Yeah, that's some
He's
lowly
just a humble
career.
farmer. Well, like, what makes that an insult? Like, what about hurting nerf is bad?
Yeah, Luke should take offense to that. He's a moisture farmer.
Yeah, exactly. That's like calling someone a moisture farmer.
It's like, my Uncle Owen was a nerf herder.
Yeah, like,
How dare you say that?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Luke looks really happy with that kiss, which is a bit ironic when we get to the next movie.
I mean, it's technically the second time they've kissed, so
It is, yeah.
Han Solo is actually the one taking an L here.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to point out that the lighting of those little panel things, they're looking at them like it's giving off info, but that's just lines.
True. Also, that little rebel technician guy, he's one of the few actors who appear in multiple Star Wars movies. That's Burnell Tucker, and he played another Rebels communications officer during the Battle of Yavin.
I like that you wrote down notes.
I
Good
did.
job, Steve.
I wrote them that note because I was like, I need to remember this guy, and I'm pretty sure that was him. If not, you'll see a short where I point out the actual guy, but I think that was him. And later, I'll point out Ralph McQuarrie when he walks by, unless I've already passed it. And then I'll just...
Oh, we gotta get the ice cream maker guy. That's important.
Oh,
That's
yes.
important to the lore.
They just recently identified the actor who played him.
Oh, yeah, because they didn't know who he was.
Yeah, exactly. He died recently, though, before they found out. But,
Well, now that's just depressing.
yeah.
Yeah, they really gave Chewie more to do in this.
They also cover him with snow.
I like that afterwards, like, all these things get names.
Yeah, that's 100% him, far on the right there. That's the same guy.
Sorry, I know we're well past this, but another thing too that Star Wars does in a really funny way
What?
is it mentions all these creatures, especially in the original trilogy. You
Yeah.
just never see them again.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
obviously the Nerf, we've been over that.
Yeah, the Nerf,
But
yeah.
Gundarks,
Gundarks,
or
yeah.
all sorts of other things I think they mention.
Womp rats.
Yeah, exactly. You never see those.
No. Yeah, wait till the Lego game comes out before you get to see those.
Oh, or imagine this moment as a kid too, where you see the like Star Destroyers, and you're like, "Oh, that's a big ship."
Yeah.
And then you see the what is it?
Super Star Destroyer, yeah.
And you're like, "Oh my god!"
Look at the scale of that thing. Look at the size of that thing.
I wouldn't want to be the guy that has to walk from one end to the other, though.
Oh, there's one of those Death Squad guys with those stupid helmets. Oh, there's Michael Sheard playing Admiral Ozzel, famous for, I think, being the actor who played Hitler the most.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think he's got the most credits as playing Hitler.
I don't know if that's something one should aim for, but
Well,
fair enough. Someone's got to do it.
He's in The Last Crusade as Adolf Hitler. And he's also in Raiders of the Lost Ark as a submarine commander.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Did James Earl Jones change slightly how he does the voice for Darth Vader? He sounds slightly different than New Hope.
I think it was a gradual change between the films.
Like, I'm not saying it's like a big change,
No, I think as he got older, he kind of changed it a little bit.
but it's just like a slight. Although I will say,
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say now.
Anyway. We'll talk more about those other Imperial officers later, but I got some trivia. Oh, there's Ralph McQuarrie.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's the the concept art.
Well, they didn't give him more of a role. That's lame.
No, he's just like, yeah, walk by, carrying your little art tools. Also, the Falcon in this is even more shit than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Just absolute garbage.
You think those pots and pans are going to be there again? Just wiggling?
I hope so.
I never noticed that until we saw that the other time.
I never noticed it either. I just saw it that time we played, or that time we watched it. Yeah.
I still don't get how Luke becomes such a god tier pilot.
I'm assuming there's some practice between this and the last movie.
I guess.
Because even in the last movie, he's making it just by the skin of his teeth. Hey, Treadwell!
I want the Treadwell trilogy.
Yeah, where's the Treadwell story?
A Treadwell story. I'd watch that.
Well,
Although, honestly, I don't think I've watched a lot of the new Star Wars stuff. I've not watched A Bad Batch. I've not watched a couple different things.
I haven't seen any of the Ahsoka show. I've seen Andor, which was amazing, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I
Like,
liked
absolutely
Andor.
fantastic.
I didn't like Ahsoka. I liked moments of Ahsoka, but as a whole, I didn't enjoy
There's
it.
something appealing to me about it, but I don't think I'm actually going to sit down and watch it.
Honestly, I think the biggest sign that Star Wars has gone downhill, at least for me, is that you don't watch everything that comes out.
Yeah.
Because you're such a big Star Wars fan, and I mean, so am I. But, like...
I mean, I did get distracted with Doctor Who, but...
Yeah, but still, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know what, if you and I aren't watching it, like, you're losing out on some of those people that are diehard Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Oh, here's the fabulous Julian Glover, also from Last Crusade.
Hopefully not known for playing Hitler.
No, he's really good, and he's in one of the best episodes of Doctor Who, City of Death from 1979.
Actually, are we going to get demonetized for saying Hitler so much?
We're not monetized at all.
Yeah, but not that we're monetized, but like we're not going to get any sort of like backlash from YouTube.
I don't think so. I think you mentioned, you know who, that Austrian painter, the discussion of Star Wars. No one's gonna check this.
Yeah,
no one
that's
watches
true.
this.
Some poor YouTube employee that has to watch all of this if we.
He'll become our biggest fan. Goodbye, Admiral Ozzel.
I get the reasoning behind it, but the actual like force, quote unquote, force logic of how Vader is able to choke this guy all the way over there makes kind of no sense.
Well, they're on the same ship.
I guess. But, like, could he just reach out the Force, whether he saw him on the TV or not, and kill him? Is
Well,
the TV part of it important? He doesn't do it to anyone else.
Not over the TV, I don't think. No,
Or
he
like-
does it in person quite a few times.
If he can just attack someone at such a far distance, why doesn't he just do that to Luke and, like, paralyze him or knock him unconscious?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, no one would know. Oh, look at that guy. 2 from the left. Like, not the first guy, but the second guy.
Oh yeah.
What's wrong with his face? His head looks too big for that helmet.
Well, I think he's also got the goggle or the visor up.
Also, these guys that are manning the ground here, they get the worst job. They just get left behind.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're out there fighting in the trenches against the AT-ATs, or no, what are these called?
Yeah, the AT-ATs.
Yeah, the AT-ATs or the AT-ATs.
And one ATST.
Those poor guys, like they're just like watching everyone else escape, and they're like, "Well, this sucks."
Also, I will point out that the Rebel officers' uniforms, they still have the same rank structure they had in A New Hope, but it will get completely abandoned by the time we get to Return of the Jedi.
Oh,
Although, some of the things I've seen of Ahsoka, they do bring back these designs for some reason.
interesting.
I don't get why there's so much inconsistency with stuff like that. You'd think they would try to fix that.
I do like the design of the Rebel like flagships.
They're very cool. They're much more organic looking, but
Well,
not in a it's made out of sludge kind of way.
Well, aren't they like retconned into being Mon Calamari?
Yeah, technically, yeah. Also, some of these helmets are reused from pilots who died in the Battle of Yavin.
Well, why wouldn't you reuse the helmets? Like
Well, yeah.
technically, other people could have them.
True, but like, lore-wise, it'd be like, why do you have the same helmet as this guy who died? Is it a replica? Is it the same helmet? Did you go to the Death Star ruins and take it from
He
his
looted it from the guy's
cold
corpse
dead
in
head?
space.
Yeah.
AT-ATs would be absolutely horrifying.
Oh yeah, to see one in real life, yeah. It has this kind of kaiju kind of feel to it.
Wait, we gotta put out a poll. AT-AT or AT-AT?
I don't know how you do that with text.
A.T.
Yeah.
or at.
What I do, sometimes when I'm talking, I'll say at because it's funnier. But because I say ATST and not atst, because I say that, I stick with the AT-AT. Even though throughout all the marketing and throughout how many people talk about these things, it's AT-AT. Back in the old days. Nowadays, they've kind of made it more consistent, but still.
I like AT-AT, but I think I just say AT-AT.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing about the special editions, they've recomposited some of these shots, so it's not as transparent looking, because they had a problem when they were doing the, putting everything together, because when you have, blue screen stuff or green screen stuff, there's usually, a dark line around everything.
Yeah.
Which works fine in space, for the space shots, but for this where it's white, it's a bit more noticeable, so they tried to play that down a little bit.
Man,
but
trying
still.
to take down AT-ATs on Lego Star Wars.
Oh,
That
impossible.
was the bane of my childhood on the PlayStation 2.
You can't do it.
It took me forever to even figure out that's what I was supposed to do because I hadn't even watched the movie before.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
I was too young to watch the movie, but I was old enough to play the Lego game.
Yeah. What gives? Well, I mean, that's probably pretty reasonable for the prequels. When you get to Anakin getting dismembered and burned alive,
Yeah, well,
these movies are made for children. Sure, George. Sure. Also, it is a pretty creative idea to do that. Oh, poor Dak. He died.
Did he die?
Yeah, he dies.
Oh, I thought he lived.
Well, if he doesn't die here, he's going to die in a few minutes.
Well, I thought Luke pulls him out.
He doesn't pull him out, Will.
Wait, really?
Keep
Have I been
watching.
going my entire life thinking that Luke pulls him out of the ship?
Dak becomes unconscious here. We don't know if he's dead or not. I don't think there's any lore explaining it.
I thought he saves
But
him.
He doesn't save him, Will. He gets crushed.
Oh, this must be Mandela effect. I can swear to God that he saved him.
Yeah, let's go to the Mandela subreddit and talk about this.
Did Luke get saved? I swear to God, I'm not even shitting you. Genuinely, thought Luke saves him.
Oh, there's Wedge Antilles.
God. Poor Wedge. He deserves more screen time.
He's really underused, which is, he gets more screen time than basically any other secondary character. But it's still, if he had one or two dialogue scenes with anyone else on screen at the same time, I think he'd be on the same level as at least Lando.
Yeah,
Probably.
Nah, Lando got more to do, and Lando was just cooler.
Well, yeah, Lando has this charm coming off of him. But if he had another scene besides the very end of Return of the Jedi, where they're all dancing and he doesn't talk, but if he had an actual dialogue scene,
Yeah, he talked to Leia. Or
yeah, if
Han
there
or
was a
something.
conversation between him and Leia, or if he was actually in A New Hope instead of that random guy,
Isn't he in A New Hope though?
He is, but only for the shots in the ship. He's not in the briefing scene because he was replacing the other guy. Remember? If he was actually in that scene, I think he'd be an all-time fan favorite character.
I think he is still a fan
Well, he
favorite
is.
character,
He
but I
is,
don't
but,
think he's on the. I think he could be the level of okay, not the level of Boba Fett, but he could
Yeah,
be that kind of person where oh, you don't really see them do a whole lot, but he does interact with characters and people like him.
yeah, exactly.
But the Boba Fett, oh my god, the Boba Fett show ruined Boba Fett. Have you seen that show yet?
No.
I wouldn't recommend.
I didn't particularly care for how Boba Fett was in The Mandalorian. I didn't mind it that much, but it didn't spark enough interest for me to actually go out and see that show.
Like, I watched it. Parts of it I actually really enjoyed. Like, the Sand People stuff was interesting, but it doesn't make sense for Boba Fett to care enough.
Yeah.
They, like, really retconned his character in some weird ways.
Yeah, I don't want to be like some sort of authority on Boba
Like, it's
Fett,
just
but...
not the Boba Fett I think the people wanted. But it's the one we got.
And also, I'm still a bit salty that they keep using Tamir Morrison to replace Boba Fett's voice in The Empire Strikes Back. I don't like how he's become Boba Fett.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it, like, lore-wise, especially after Attack of the Clones and, you know, Revenge of the Sith and all that. But I feel like it's a bit... You know, it just feels out of place sometimes.
For sure.
And it kind of reminds me of that whenever I see him.
Like, valid.
You've taken this away from me.
Yeah, the guy that played Boba Fett, he really lost out on that one.
Yeah, and he has such a good voice. And, Tamir Morrison's got a really good voice, too, but I just don't think it fits as well. It's not as gruff.
Honestly, Timo Morrison, super underutilized, because technically it's not even really him for, like, most of the Clone Wars. He's only in, or for really most of the new trilogy, because he's only in the one scene playing Jango. But all the other versions of him are just CGI versions.
There are some shots of them with their helmets off.
I guess, but overall, like, it's not him.
Oh, here's that scene, Will.
Yeah, he saves him, doesn't he?
Keep watching. He saved the...
Wait, he didn't save him! I thought he did!
Dak gets squished, Will.
I thought he, like, fought to, like, try to get him out, and then it's, like, a whole, like, time pressure thing. I swear to God, genuinely thought there was, like, a whole, like, stressful moment of him, like, pulling, trying to get him out. I thought he saves him.
I like how C-3PO is going to stay till the bitter end of the Rebel base.
Yes. Oh, the other guy,
He's dead. He's like, oh, it's no hope. We're in the bunker. It's time to just end it. Same with this other technician guy. Why is he just like... They're like, oh, we still need to talk on these communications
that lady in
devices.
the back was there.
Yeah. Too bad they don't have any speaking lines, Will.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're not going over that again. I don't respect that test. It's kind of a joke. It doesn't.
Well,
really,
it was designed as a bit of a parody, really.
I guess, but some people put a lot of stock into it. And yes, if a film doesn't pass that, is it a bad sign? Probably. It's
Probably,
pretty low barrier to entry. Yeah. But it's just one of those things where not every film makes sense to have that.
Also, in that shot, some of the rebels were firing in that direction of them retreating. Because it's a shot that was reversed from what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be them charging, but they reversed it for the effect and having the things come behind it, but they were shooting at themselves like some sort of like World War I era French, like, no, you will not ever retreat or we will shoot you.
You know, actually, maybe those trench guys do get away because they do give out the retreat. So maybe they get on like a last ship.
They probably do, yeah.
Presumably. They just they didn't just get left there.
Yeah, I would assume most of them survive.
Oh, look at him. Oh, that guy didn't die. He just tripped and he was like, I'm going to play dead.
Yeah.
Is that guy in any other movies? That guy feels recognizable, but maybe
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
only...
that's General Veers. He was in Last Crusade. He's the villain of that.
Oh. I honestly never put that together. Apparently I'm not very smart. Ooh. Maybe they don't get off planet.
Well, they've destroyed the shield generator. Also, this deleted scene of C-3PO ripping off that sign. And then a bunch of Wampas are behind the door.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I get why they cut it.
Yeah, it's a bit silly, I think, yeah.
Like, why would they let Wampas be in there, first of all?
I think the idea was that they were kind of in a system of caves, and they were trying to, like, keep themselves separate, but wasn't happening. I like how they're totally ready to abandon C-3PO.
Yeah, why are they so ready to abandon C-3PO?
He's such a crucial friend of them.
He would be to Leia, presumably.
Well, we do remember in the last movie, he didn't even know who Leia was.
Yeah, that's true.
Where they met. A person of great importance, I presume.
I love the snowtrooper design.
They're pretty cool.
They look really awesome.
They look more evil, I think, because they don't have like any facial features beside their eyes. Whereas the other ones, they kind of have details that kind of mimic a face. Wait for me. Anthony Daniels just trying his hardest to run.
I like that he really made sure to duck.
Oh,
Like, you best believe he hit his head.
Oh, probably. He's got a concussion.
Oh, man. The worst ship in the galaxy. And yet, the best.
And this is a Star Wars movie that actually works as a chase film. Unlike certain other ones.
Which other ones?
The Last Jedi.
Oh.
Where the whole premise is that this works because it's not just a straight line. There's more like hide and seek kind of aspect to it.
I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I had to think about that one for a second. I was like, what chase movie? But that's why it's so bad.
Yeah,
I don't even associate it with being a chase. I just associate it with it not making sense.
Like, there are aspects of that film I like. I think it's probably the best looking Star Wars movie. At least recently.
I disagree.
Okay, besides Rogue One. Rogue One looks
I was
really
going to say Rogue One.
like-
Also, actually, no. Solo looks pretty good, even though it's a little too dark.
It's way too dark.
But
But
it
yeah,
still
Solo
looks
does
pretty
look pretty good. Yeah. Yay, the heroes made it out. Luke is just like walking like a cowboy.
Yeah, Luke is like, well, I'm screwed.
He's like, I hope my X-Wing's still okay.
Yeah.
And nobody stole it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, presumably the guys on the ground got off with that ship.
Yeah. I like R2-D2 was just going to wait there and hope.
Well, maybe RT was going to go pick him up if he didn't show up.
Or there's Wedge.
It would have been cool if he had a conversation with Wedge there.
That would have been, yeah.
Like, he could have been like, oh, good idea, Wedge. Or,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that is a missed opportunity.
But I definitely do agree with your other assessment with the last film of Biggs and Wedge kind of being combined as one character.
Yeah,
I
they
think that
should have
would've
been
worked really
combined. That would have made way more sense.
We gotta go see Jedi Master.
I always thought the translation thing, like the little translation screen for R2 was a cool idea.
It makes sense.
Because it's not like he'd be able to hear him, you know?
Yeah, not in space, yeah.
Although, presumably... Actually, no. Presumably, R2's coming through in his headset, and then R2's hearing the mic.
Yeah, presumably. There's some sort of connection.
I don't get why the fleet is like, you know what? We're going to go after this one ship that belonged to a bounty hunter.
I think it's because of the Death Star and because of Darth Vader's obsession with Luke Skywalker. He knows that there's a connection between them and between those characters.
Actually, that makes sense. Never mind. I take it back.
And it's also not like the Super Star Destroyer that's following. It's just one random thing
I like this. This is cool.
where they like almost collide and they have to like avoid each other.
Well, it's like...
It's like Star Trek, like everyone fling against the wall.
it works.
It does, yeah. It's effective. It's a time-old tradition of sci-fi.
Although, presumably, they could just, move down from each other or up.
That's the thing. Star Wars doesn't really take a really good effect of vertical motion in space. It's all like kind of...
Well, that's something like I feel like humans really... We think about Star Wars 2 in a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
But it's really not.
No, there's height to everything. It's not like a map that we're used to. And I think that's a problem with a lot of science fiction is it doesn't take that into account.
Although, who's to say that they aren't just rotating the camera to match their perspective?
Yeah, true.
Like, they could be flying just, straight up vertically, but,
Oh, there's Harrison Ford's back.
They really do change the layout of the ship.
I love when this thing falls on his head. I love that scream.
Ow! Ow!
Yeah. Come on, Han, we gotta fix this problem.
They were like, Han, there's asteroids. They're just like, Han, get up here. I would have been like, Han, holy shit, get up here. There's asteroids.
Mr. Solo.
Or I would have just screamed, asteroids! Because presumably that's real bad.
Oh, that's a major threat.
I like that they turn off 3PO here.
Somebody shut him up. So many good lines in this. Like, almost every single one of them is, like, really memorable.
I mean, Never Tell Me the Odds is pretty iconic.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's a good-looking explosion. Although it's a little sparkly.
A bit, yeah. But I do like the kind of weird glowing effect they have on everything. I love C-3PO just reacting to everything. Like, for some reason, this droid has actual fear inside of him.
Yeah, it's programmed by Anakin as a child.
Programmed for torture and torment.
Where's my skin?
Where is my skin? You promised me flesh.
You promised me flesh. That's so fucked up.
You gotta love the All or Nots videos. They are a classic.
That's what we should have done our commentary of.
Well, you know, we'd just be laughing the whole time. That's more of like a reaction video than an actual in-depth conversation.
That's true. That's something we splice into the shorts, is what that is.
That's that's Schwartz material. That's Schwartz material.
I don't know if I'm a fan of the space worm, but you know,
Well, out of everything in Empire, this is the part that kind of doesn't feel like it belongs.
I think it's an interesting concept.
I don't like how they get out and are like walking around without spacesuits. That's what breaks my suspension of disbelief a little bit.
Well, I did see someone talking about, in theory, you could go out into space if you had a helmet.
Yeah, but they just have the little like mouth thing. They don't even have like goggles or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. They're
not that bad,
inside
though.
a big worm thing.
True.
Presumably, the big worm thing has atmosphere or something.
there's an ecosystem growing inside of them.
Like, I don't... Well, and there's other, like, bat creatures that live in the worm.
Okay, yeah, true.
So, like...
You're convincing me.
I don't know. There's got to be some sort of atmosphere or something. Like, how do the other creatures live? You know? Do they eat the worm itself?
They might be parasites.
Yeah, like, how does that work?
Let's talk biology.
Dagobah.
Dagobah. The swamps.
Luke is a bad pilot. Can't even land.
Yeah, look at this guy. This absolute schlub. It's so... There's like plenty of land he could have landed onto.
Well, and like, why do you have to come in so hot? You know, you can't just, slow down, come down straight down because you have that power.
Yeah.
You're not landing an actual airplane.
He's so pissed off.
The glove toss. Stick of this. Oh, I'm the worst.
I just want to go back to Toshi Station with my friends.
I just want to drink blue milk.
Too bad Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are skeletons. Whoa. Oh, here's the silliness.
This actually, I always enjoyed this.
It's kind of funny. But it's the same kind of idea of the trash compactor monster, but with R2-D2 instead of Luke.
A little bit, but I like that the monster spits him out because he's like, this isn't food.
I don't like that they changed Luke's line afterwards. After the special edition.
Wait, they changed it?
Yeah, the line he says after he cleans off R2-D2. It's changed from the original.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I forget what the original one is, but it's, it's not a change that really warranted being changed.
I like that. I like R2's little antenna thing for seeing.
It's an interesting way for a creature that is so small and so rigid in its form to be able to change to its surroundings.
Did they redo that big fish monster for the special edition?
No, I think that's the same actually.
Interesting.
Empire doesn't have a lot of changes in it. It's
It's George's original vision.
apparently,
There's so much fog.
even though it's more so like
Woo!
more so some of the other contributors' ideas, I think.
Well, maybe that's why I said they were like, George, don't you dare change this.
George has actual respect for their work instead of
His
Marsha
own.
Lucas, who we did not have a greatest relationship with. Let's just put it that way.
Marcia saved
She
Star
did,
Wars.
and George kind of resents her for it, I think.
Yeah, probably. Look at him. That's a dirty looking R2.
The droids are just attracted to dirt, Will.
Honestly, probably. Owning a droid would be an absolute nightmare. Can you imagine how much you'd have to clean that thing all the time? It'd be worse than owning a car.
Oh, yeah. Because it's alive.
Yeah. Yeah, is R2 considered alive in the Star Wars universe? Or, like, where does R2 fall under?
Well, we did watch Solo, Will. And droids don't really have rights.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But they have the whole droid rebellion in that. So, like... Actually, isn't there in the... What is it? The expanded universe? What's that called?
The EU.
Yeah, the non-canon EU. Isn't there, like, a big, like, droid rebellion? Or, like,
I think so,
uprising?
at one point, yeah.
Oh, look at that weird.
And that's actually Dave Prowse under there, under the skin. But by the time they got to Return of the Jedi, him and George Lucas had kind of having a falling out because he was like really pissed off at George, and George thought he was leaking things to the press.
Was he leaking things to the press?
I don't know. I'll look into it for the next time, but
I want to know. Was he actually doing it?
I don't think he was really, but by that point he just replaced him with Sebastian Shaw, who was like almost like a senior citizen kind of age actor to play the head of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And he was so confused when he got brought on set. He was like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm making something. They tell me it's to do with sci-fi." And then there's an interview after. He's like, "Apparently there's an action figure of me in stores now." But he was just... it was not his world, Star Wars.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I like the no helmet Darth Vader.
I like the performance he gives, and I kind of like how he looks. I prefer him with the eyebrows, by the way.
I do like the performance, but I don't know if I like the look of him.
Yeah, he looks too...
He looks too old?
Too old, too soft, too friendly.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's something about him.
Yeah, it's just off. Like, especially compared to what the other versions we've seen now of Darth Vader with no helmet. I don't know.
Yeah, in retrospect, it is a bit strange, but those...
We're on the wrong topic for this film.
This is a Return of the Jedi conversation. We'll just put this in into the other video.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Also,
Luke's got all his supplies.
How did Luke have all these supplies in the X-Wing? Like, presumably there's not a lot of storage in the X-Wing.
I don't know. I just assume he's got like some little survival kits, and this is what he's taking out.
I bet there's probably some book out there that explains the storage system of the X-Wing.
There's probably a 20 book long series explaining the ins and outs of how X-Wings work.
There's probably like one of those little not encyclopedias. What's it called when it's an encyclopedia but with like pictures?
Oh, like a visual dictionary?
Yeah, like a visual dictionary that has like little arrows that point to everything.
Yeah, those like little breakdown things.
Yeah.
I have one for the Phantom Menace. I'll bring that next time when we get to that one.
There's probably one of those for this.
I guarantee there's
that
one.
explains how Luke was able to fit all that shit in there.
He's packing for a trip. He's got crates and what is even in that stuff?
Oh, I think I remember seeing some sort of behind the scenes interview with Mark Hamill where he just kept getting bit by all the snakes on set.
Probably. Mark Hamill has like such terrible luck when it comes to like anything physical to do.
Well, didn't he almost drown at one point or something?
Yeah, when they filmed the trash compactor scene, he like broke a blood vessel in his eye because he was underwater too long.
Oh, Yoda.
Oh, there's Yoda.
I want to know how Yoda snuck up on R2. R2 was looking right at him.
He blends in. Use the mind trick on him.
I like prequel Yoda, but I like Return of the Jedi. Or not Return of the Jedi. I like original Yoda, too.
You like Return of the Jedi when he just up and dies?
I don't know. Like...
There is a lot of character in Yoda, especially when he's like pretending to not be anyone important.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah. And it kind of ruins, like, having seen all the other films before we watched this as kids. This
Also
surprise
true.
kind of got ruined.
Well, this is why you got to show your kids the chronological release order.
We're not even going to touch the machete order.
What's the machete order?
It's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. You get rid of the Phantom Menace, and then you do Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and then Return of the Jedi. So you end up seeing Hayden Christensen, Anakin, before you get to the end of Return of the Jedi, where he's like,
oh, because you have to understand that that's him.
Because if you watch it in chronological order, the special editions, it makes no sense.
You're like, who is that?
Yeah, at least in the original one, it's like eyebrowed old man Anakin. It's like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But like,
oh
when it's
my
some
god,
random
I
guy,
never thought about that. That's pretty funny.
That's why that was made, and of course that came out long before the sequels came out. You
Although actually, that's actually not a bad idea. Where you watch 4, 5. 2, 3. Okay, but like we'll be generous. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. I like
and
then
you come back to 6. That's an interesting idea, actually.
It might be worth trying. I've never done it before.
No, I've not either. Because then you see, like, it gives you more logic too for like, oh, there could be good in Darth Vader, you know?
Yeah, because it's after the surprise of Luke, I'm your father. It's after all that stuff.
I'll need to have more than one kid so I can show all the kids Star Wars in different orders to see how they react.
Of course, it does ruin the Leia surprise.
Oh, true.
So that's the one thing with the machete order. That's well, besides how ridiculous it is, that's the one problem with the machete order.
Yeah, but then it makes the incest less weird or more weird. No. more weird.
he gets it out of the way beforehand, but it's fresh in your mind by the time you get to that point.
Yeah, you're like, oh no.
Anyway,
I don't know.
moving on.
I think they should have made Yoda more goofy in the original, in the sequel trilogy.
Maybe, yeah.
Because Yoda's like kind of goofy in this. Although presumably Yoda's also lost his mind for being alone for 2 decades.
Yeah, his marbles are gone. Nowhere to be found.
Because when you're 1,000 years old.
But I think some of this is a bit of an act. Because, like, Luke still doesn't quite know who Yoda is. By the time he's, like, with his soup and the voice of Obi-Wan starts coming in, he's, like, actually, like, okay, I'm serious now.
Okay, but I still think he's a little goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, sorry. I'm yawning up a storm here.
This movie's boring. You're just falling asleep, man.
No, I don't know
Man,
what it is.
I'm just too tired, man. I just gotta go to sleep.
That just looks like a control panel that you would see on, like, a TV set.
Yeah, this is...
Like some TV broadcasting thing.
Mm-hmm. Now coming from the BBC.
Yeah, they just went and rated, like, NBC.
Yeah, CBS presents Star Wars in color.
This is a good slowdown moment.
Yeah, it's a nice kind of ease into the romance, yeah.
Like, I think something, too, is that a lot of the later films rush into romance.
Mm-hmm.
Where they just kind of, like, force it on them. But this builds relationships and gives... Well, it gives a weird love triangle, but still.
Yeah.
It gives them time to build some sort of relationship. Like,
Yeah,
a will they, won't they?
Yeah, because for the, like, at the end of A New Hope, it can go either way, you think, in your mind.
Yeah.
If you don't have any of the other knowledge.
You know.
The forbidden knowledge. If you don't know...
If you think about it like you're a kid in the, 80s?
Yeah, if you were, born 1970 or 7 years old, you're like, oh, okay, this is Star Wars. It's so cool. What could happen to my new friends, It could go anywhere. But this takes it, like, it separates the characters. It forces the romance in a specific direction.
And even the lighting and the, like, blocking of it, where you, like, he's kind of right on top of her. She feels uncomfortable, but she doesn't look uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's not acting uncomfortable. It's the same kind of idea we're talking about with Tarkin, where it's that kind of closeness, that kind of the height difference. It's that sort of thing, but it's played in a different direction.
Oh, very true. Good point.
And you have the comedy there of C-3PO to kind of break any tension that's actually there.
Yeah, and Leia's like, oh no, and run away.
This is my chance.
Freedom!
Yeah. Also, that guy there who just who dies for a long time, they didn't know who was playing that guy. There was a bunch of people arguing, but it turns out it's one of the guys who did the VFX. His name is Jim Villiers.
Oh.
There's some behind-the-scenes pictures of it, but I do love that detail of the Star Destroyer gets hit by the asteroid, and the guy on the comm dies. Like, you assume he's dead. Like, there's no other option. Here's Admiral Piet, who I've only seen in one other film other than this and Return of the Jedi, and that's a Terry Gilliam movie from Python's fame called The Jabberwocky. It was his first movie, 1977. He plays like this like religious heretic. It's like just really crazy and stuff. It's a strange film, but it's a really gritty fantasy film before that was kind of a mainstream thing.
I guess we don't get weird monkey emperor.
Yeah, the monkey-eyed emperor with the woman's face and the voice of some other guy.
I like that they changed that. That looked too wonky.
This fits in more with the continuity better. Although he does look a little...
He looks too clean. Like, he looks too...
He looks more Revenge of the Sith than Return of the Jedi, I think they filmed it around the same time they were filming that, which is why that's like that, but...
Makes sense. But I think they should have... Or they should have even made the hologram look maybe a little more shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like a modern-day version of the holograms they do.
Yeah.
Whereas they should have made it a little bit more distorted, I think.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. But he's definitely, like... He's mimicking the actual acting of that. He's not doing his own thing. Mm-hmm. It's very much that same kind of pacing. The son of Skywalker must never come back. It's that kind of really deliberate pacing to it.
I think it's good.
It works really well.
I don't really have any issues with it. It's just like a visual thing. I'm like, the hologram, like it stands out as being more modern.
Yeah, as a replacement, it's actually pretty good, like all things considered. Although I do have a soft spot for the weird monkey eyes that blink randomly. There's R2 peeping Tom, looking in the windows.
Why doesn't Yoda recognize R2?
Same reason why Obi-Wan does, because George didn't think of that.
I know, but like that would have been something maybe later on where George is like, you know what?
You know what? For the special edition, I'm gonna bring Frank Oz back in, and he's gonna be like,
You're gonna drag Frank Oz' corpse onto set.
he's not dead. Yeah, in 2057, when Frank Oz is dead and buried, George Lucas is gonna bring him back.
Frank Oz passed away.
No, that's Jim Henson you're thinking of.
Oh,
Frank
right.
Oz is still alive. Frank Oz
of,
is still like directing, I think.
I'm thinking of Jim Henson. My bad.
Jim Henson was actually, I think, one of the first choices to play Yoda.
Well, yeah,
But he was
obviously.
like, yeah, I'm too busy to do that. Get Frank Oz. He's like, I could do funny voices. I could do Grover.
Well, who are you gonna go to when you need a Muppet? Frank Oz and Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Like that's
They're the top ones. There were other choices they could have
those
made.
are
but-
only options, you know.
Well, I don't know. They had some pretty talented people there in the Muppet Studios, but
Frank Oz, I'm sorry, I thought you were dead.
he's not gonna listen to this.
I'm gonna send it to him. You're gonna make this into a short, and we're gonna email it to him.
The boy is too old. It looks like did I hear that right?
Do you think Obi-Wan just like instantly showed up to come chat with Yoda after he died?
Well, I failed.
I decided to let myself die and become a Force ghost. Why you do that?
Do that you did. Stupid it was.
You know what? Although, if we're talking shit, we all know from the comic book from
Star Wars
Caravan of
Infinities,
Garbage,
yeah.
if Yoda got off his ass,
If you guys asked in gear a little earlier, could have ended this right at the start.
he would have caused trillions of deaths.
Yeah, crashing the Death Star into Coruscant.
It's an apocalyptic event.
Yeah. The most densely populated starship crashes into the most densely populated area.
Yoda drops hella knowledge, honestly. Like, you could just write down all of what Yoda says and probably create, like, some sort of nice, like, philosophy book.
I'm sure someone might have done that. Actually, I'd read that. Just
Maybe not, like, everything, but you get the point.
yeah, just go. Do or do not. There is no try. Read or read not. There is no try.
I like that he says, so was I. Obi-Wan was the least reckless character in the prequels.
Yeah, like Qui-Gon was reckless.
Yeah, like, Obi-Wan is all about, like, following the Jedi code, like, you know?
No, Anakin, we've got to do what it tells us to do. We're not supposed to, jump off buildings,
Yeah, even though Obi-Wan was the most non-reckless Jedi.
Yeah, Qui-Gon was reckless. They've learned their lesson with Anakin. You can't train a 9-year-old. You're definitely not training a 19-year-old.
I thought Yoda's takeaway, though, is that other people could be trained, or, like, I don't know, or that the Jedi Order was too strict. Like, I thought he had some sort of takeaway.
No, it doesn't seem like it, because he's saying the exact same thing he said in The Phantom Menace.
No, I know, but still.
Which caused all these problems. I love how threatening he is. You will be.
He looks high. It's the eyes.
Well, yeah, it's those weird half-closed eyes. Oh, here's the TIE bombers coming in. They're like in like 3 shots maybe, and they're like pretty iconic ships, I think.
Yeah, they are cool. That's a good shot. It's a good slowdown moment.
It's really beautiful shot too. Like the lighting on Carrie
Yeah.
Fisher, and she's obviously very beautiful. And her reaction to it is very subtle. Until
the
she
bat thing.
screams. Which actually, I think it's the one scare in Star Wars that actually got me, because I was not expecting it. Like when I first watched it. It's so hideous looking. With that goo, too.
Actually, speaking of horror movies, DayZ, like World War Z, that zombie movie,
Yeah.
the only jump scare in that movie that scared me, and I never watch horror movies, but this horror movie just was so bad.
Yeah.
But the only one that jump scared me, because it doesn't make sense, is the zombie that somehow got into the fucking cupboard on the goddamn plane. How'd he get in there?
Tired of these motherfucking zombies on these motherfucking planes.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that does not make sense.
Because they're in the like clean area, and he gets on the plane somehow, and he's in the cupboard in the plane.
Well, here we are with their tubes and things stuck to them. I kind of like the look of these, but like within the context, it's a little
Weird.
strange, yeah.
But like I feel like they knew there was atmosphere.
But yeah, I mean, this is also like George Lucas writing this, and he grew up on like Flash Gordon and stuff, where they just like walk outside, and it's like, this is space. We must be careful. You know, that kind of.
I mean, humans have barely been to space at this point.
Yeah, well, the moon landing was like 5 years. I can't do math. 11 years before this movie came out was the moon landing.
That's true.
So, it's kind of an older tradition of sci-fi, which Star Wars really fits into. It's kind of that. I love C-3POs.
Well, it's because Star Wars helped establish a lot of the traditions for like sci-fi in cinema.
Yeah, it's the current iterations of all these ideas.
Like the ideas for Star Wars aren't necessarily original, but for cinema it was, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because like obviously Star Wars is so heavily influenced by Dune.
Yeah, Dune, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, like these kind of things.
But those things never really were quite shown in like cinema the same way.
They weren't mainstream, at least not since like, in the case of like Flash Gordon and stuff, like not since the 30s.
Yeah.
And Dune was mainstream, but it was a literary thing. It wasn't in cinema.
Yeah, exactly. Can't jump to light speed.
What?
Why didn't they get R2 to pilot out of the asteroid field?
Because R2's not with them.
Oh right.
They got C3. They're stuck with C3PO.
Didn't they recomp the teeth?
They might have. Also, this puppet there of that worm was reused in the Caravan of Courage movies. It comes out of a tree and bites someone's arm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good fact.
Mm-hmm. So you know these fun facts, well, when you've seen the the Ewok movies.
I can't say I've seen them.
It's probably not worth it, to be honest. I like them, but they're kind of the ugly ducklings of Star Wars, and that's saying something. They don't fit in. Although George Lucas was really invested in those films, like he had a lot of contributions to those.
R2's back to being super dirty.
Yeah, just there's no hope for him.
I like that Yoda just makes him carry around in a backpack.
Yeah, it's for training. I love how sweaty Luke is too. Like just.
Well, it makes sense. Presumably Dagobah is
Like
humid.
Humid, yeah.
Like I'd be sweating.
I'd be sweating just standing there.
Yeah, same.
Just be panting. Just oh my gosh. Master Yoda, can you give me a fan or something? Ice cream bar or something, dude.
Yoda's fingers look so creepy.
They're so weirdly vascular.
Like if you saw a close up of that thing, like come around the corner of a door in a horror movie, you best believe you'd be afraid.
Yeah, like crotch height, just reaching. It's like, ugh, get away. He'd kick this thing.
Like they just look so muscly.
Mm-hmm. He's got real Gremlins look to him.
Although honestly, I like the detail that Yoda is totally fine being in the backpack.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
He's got to be pretty. Oh, he just magically got out of the backpack.
He put him down.
Nobody put him down, and Yoda was still sitting in the backpack in the shot before this, and now he's just like out of the backpack in the next shot.
Oh, maybe. He climbed. He's got the Force. He just levitated himself out of it, or I don't know.
I do find it interesting how none of the other movies really deal with these like dark side locations.
No, not the films. No.
They obviously pop up other places, and it does pop up in
The Last Jedi. They do touch on it, but it's much more vague than this. This has like an actual like message to Luke Skywalker, which is strange, you know. Well, I guess the one in The Last Jedi also has a message to it.
I mean, yes, but then it was just instantly changed by an angry director that should have just committed to doing a trilogy.
Yeah, you can't just like this guy broke my franchise when you abandoned it. Oh boy. If we ever do those movies, we're gonna have a lot to say. It ain't gonna be good things.
We're gonna do them eventually, but we gotta ease our way in. We gotta get some Star Wars. Then we gotta get Phantom Menace.
Yeah, Phantom Menace.
Then we gotta get a Clone Wars. Then Revenge of the Sith, and that's still like what we got 4 months worth of movies to do.
Pretty much, yeah. And I would like to do the Andor show too.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because that's like one of the Rogue One too. Because those are like the few Star Wars things that have come out recently that have really gripped my attention.
Yeah, I think I saw an interview with Mark Hamill or something where he talked about just always getting bit by all the snakes here.
Yeah, there's some lizards, snakes, and things. Like very Earth-like animals too, which is bizarre to see in Star Wars. Because usually it's like,
this is actually one of the only films I think where it really shows Earth animals.
In the original version of the Phantom Menace, there were ducks, but they got edited out. And technically, in The Last Jedi, there are some shots, I think, that there are puffins that did not get, like, replaced with the porgs. Because that was what they were designed for, so they blend in, so they wouldn't have to digitally erase every single one. So I think some of them, if you actually look, might be still puffins. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not going to go through the effort of doing that. I don't care.
I like the porgs. Not the point.
The
lightsabers look so much better in this film.
They do. They're a much greater improvement. And they still have kind of that yellow flare, too, but it's not as vibrant.
It's more of like a flash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the filming this on, I think it's 2s, isn't it? Where it's 2 frames and so like instead of 24 frames a second, it's 12 frames a second.
Yeah, I think so. It's choppy. It's
yeah,
a deliberate effect.
Like I think it's called animating on 2s in animation. I don't know what it's called for
Yeah.
film. I should, but I don't.
Mark Hamill trying his best not to move.
Yeah, how'd they film that? Did they just like get Mark Hamill like under a thing and they just like put his head in there?
I think for the shot when it explodes, it's a model because they, are not going to put pyrotechnics on Mark Hamill's face, especially not after the accident. You might not enjoy that, but yeah, I think there's a picture of him like kind of with the thing on and he's like smiling.
Did they redo the engines? That was something that I noticed. Is like the engines look very orange in the.
I think they did in A New Hope. I don't know if they did it in this. I think that was the original color was orange.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about that or noticed it.
I guess Admiral Piet's not in defeat.
Man, because of the Clone Wars TV show, they really make Bosk so old.
They do, yeah. Well, they do with like a lot of these characters too.
Oh, that alien guy too. Look at him. Look at him there.
Yeah, good old Zuckuss or Forlom, as the old Kenner kids used to know.
Or the IG-88 unit. Oh man, they really changed IG-88s to being super scary.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Dengar.
Yeah, Dengar.
He's in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
he's one of the few characters that appear in more than one Star Wars film.
Well, and he's in the Clone Wars TV show, so like Dengar would also be ancient.
Yeah, Dengar's like a 60-year-old man. He's a senior citizen. And he's just like, I'm still bounty hunter. Yeah.
Well, at least for like Jango Fett, he would only be like a couple years older than say like Luke and Leia.
Yeah, like Boba Fett, he'd only be what, like?
He'd be in his like 30s or 40s.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be Han Solo's age, basically.
No light speed. It's not my fault.
It's just supposed to work.
Sounds like it's a you problem.
That sounds like a you problem, Master Solo. Shut the stupid robot off.
Shut up.
Even she's getting annoyed with him. And she's like the only person who like barely tolerates him.
No, Chewie likes 3PO.
Well, yeah, he likes him enough to fix him.
Shields up.
Oh, there's Captain Nita, who will need a new neck later on.
Captain Nita more like need a new neck, am I right?
Apology accepted, Captain Nita. Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
Yeah, I think I remember when, what was it, Rogue One came out, that people were like, oh, why is Vader so sassy? Vader's always been sassy.
Vader's...
I don't know what are you talking about?
What? Vader is so sassy.
Yeah, exactly.
Every line coming out of him is sass.
Do you know how hard that would be? To do a one-handed handstand push-up while balancing a Yoda on your foot? Also, how did Yoda get up there? Did he force jump up there?
I think Luke might have put him there.
Yeah, but how did he put him up there?
I don't know. Shocked him.
Man, Luke goes through like some hard-ass training. Like, how are you supposed to call the Force when you're upside down?
Luke's got some actual training in him.
Balancing on one hand.
Stacking rocks like they're snowmen.
The way Yoda's face looks. Mark Hamill's got some arms on him.
Oh, he got really fit for this movie. He ain't no schlub anymore, Will.
Honestly, if you cut out the starship or the X-wing out of the shot, and then you cut out R2-D2 out of the shot, and you just only have a shot of Mark Hamill, he'd look like he'd be in like some like Vietnam War movie.
Yeah.
Like with the tank top and the pants.
Yeah. This is Full Metal Jacket with Luke Skywalker.
I'd watch that.
You've got a May the Force be with you button on your shirt, and it says "Down with the Empire" on your helmet. That's some kind of a sick joke. That's what you call a callback. Definitely not something I thought of yesterday and put in my notes.
Wait, really?
I didn't write it down, but I did think of that joke.
Oh. I was about to say, how did you think about that? And how do you know I was going to say something about him looking like he's a nom?
I was gonna make that joke, but I forgot earlier. But then when the nom thing came in, it's clicked in my head. And
Yoda's face there too, where he's like, "Oh my god, I didn't think he could do it."
Actually, gonna do it. He is.
Expecting it, I was not. Disappointed I am now.
Failed. He did. No good. Skywalker is.
Suck you do.
Suck you do. Green nuts it is. That is why you fail. Judge me by your size, do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, you should not.
Should not, you should.
Should you not? Should you, perhaps?
Maybe don't.
No, wouldn't it be don't, maybe?
Don't, maybe.
Because you gotta make everything Yoda says sound like a question.
He's always confused.
Yeah, he's just questioning.
900 years old he is. Confused always.
Confused, maybe, perhaps.
Possibly confused. Another thing I think that is key to Yoda, how he looks, is that he's a puppet with the hands.
Yeah, the hands
Like
wiggling.
like a Fozzie Bear kind of situation. I don't know why that's my point of reference for puppets, but like he's got the hands that are human hands, not like Swedish Chef hands, but like their hands underneath puppet hands. It's not like a Kermit the Frog where it's like on a stick and it's just bopping up and down.
Oh man, imagine going back to your wife with the Yoda hand makeup on, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. Hi, honey, I'm back home. Ew, Frank, fuck off.
Frank, don't you dare. Come here, I want to touch ya. I'm going to get ya.
Come on, I'm gonna get you. No, stop it, Frank.
We just turned this into a domestic abuse thing. Frank, I'm sorry.
Frank, no. It was just a prank.
It's just a joke. Please don't cancel me. Also, look at that chameleon just climbing up the...
Just chilling. Just a bunch of geckos hanging out.
Honestly, I think this is one of like the only times Yoda actually uses the Force in any significant way in all of the films.
This and when he lifts that big thing in
Yeah,
Attack
the
of the
ship
Clones.
or no, not the ship, the pillar.
Yeah. Which he also kind of struggles with, which makes
No sense.
when certain other Force users lift a whole bunch of rocks without any effort, puts that into question, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, presumably Yoda is at the most in tune with the Force he is in this moment.
Mm-hmm. And he still has to like close his eyes and like really focus to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a ship.
And it's a ship underwater. Even more weight.
That is true. That is true. There's a bit of weight to it too. And seaweed. Look at all that seaweed on there. Plus all the compartments are empty because Luke took all his stuff out and they're all filled with water.
The one thing as a kid I never understood is how the ship got so dirty.
You know,
Like, I guess it's a swamp, so like it's probably going to go on there pretty quick.
yeah.
But I was like, it was in there for like a handful of days. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, the actual time scales in Empire Strikes Back is a bit confusing. People don't really know how long it's supposed to take. But yeah, like, you know, a week or so. That's a good estimate, I think.
I always just assumed it's a handful of days.
Mm-hmm.
And relativity. You don't know where they are in the universe.
Yeah, it might be near the galactic core. I don't know. Dagobah seems kind of like a mid-rim kind of planet.
G accepted, Captain Nita. More like need a new neck, am I right? Man, Vader really just must have a corpse cleanup crew.
Yeah, look at those guys. That's why they're called Death Squad Commanders.
Their job is to clean up the bodies.
I love how serious that guy next to Admiral Piet is. He's just like staring at the camera.
Look at that guy behind Vader just staring at his back of his head.
Look at this guy. He looks like he's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, look at the guy in the back.
Look at him. The way he's lit too. It's just the up like on his face.
I like Admiral Piet.
He's a good character. I like him a lot.
I don't know what it is about him, but I like him more than any of the other admirals.
He's up there for me. I like that he has actual stuff to do, and he appears in more than one movie. But I would say that too if it was any other of the Imperial officers. Like if Tarkin was in all 3 Star Wars movies, he'd be a favorite character for sure. Well, he still is, but like he'd be more of one. Or if it was like just some random guy, just like if Admiral Ozzel stuck around, like I'd still like him too. I guess he threw was strapped in because he would fall otherwise.
Why do they dump their garbage before they go to Lightspeed? What
They don't want to
benefit
take it
is
with
that
them.
to them?
Just get rid of it. Out of sight, out of mind.
I guess.
That's the Empire's policy on garbage. Only you can start forest fires.
I mean, I feel like forest fires become pretty relevant when you can just move to any planet.
I'm sure Anakin Skywalker, of all people, doesn't like forest fires.
No, he's not a fan of sand.
Or lava. Although he did build his house there.
Also true. But
Which is a strange decision. And that goes all the way back to the old Ralph McQuarrie art of Vader's castle being on this planet like that.
Honestly, it's probably there because it looks cool from the Ralph McQuarrie art.
I'm sure. I think in the original ideas, Anakin became Vader, not in a lava pit, but in like a molten metal pit. Like in like Terminator, when they like melt the guy.
Interesting.
I think that was the original idea. I might be wrong. I heard that somewhere though. And I'm repeating it like it's a fact, which is what I do on this show. Also, all this garbage, like, what is it?
Yeah, the garbage doesn't really make sense.
It's not like banana peels and stuff. It's like chunks of the ship.
Also, shouldn't they have had Boba Fett pop up on their scanners? Shouldn't they have been like, why is there this guy following us?
Yeah, I don't know. They don't have a rear view mirror or something, Also, Boba Fett being all cool. Like you do.
Yeah, he is cool. I will admit that.
Of course, how does he get there? Like, how does he know where they're going is the thing.
Yeah, and how does he get in the garbage?
Like, I get him, like, being able to be, like, to think that kind of laterally, to realize they're going to do something tricky like that they couldn't have just disappeared. Right, they're somewhere. I could see that point of logic, but how does he get to Bespin before they do?
Yeah.
That's where it's like...
Like, I guess maybe he's like,
looked
at the contacts that Han Solo would have, and he's like, oh,
yeah,
Lando.
it's like, which out of all these planets, who's the most probable he's going to? And out of all those planets, who does he know there? It kind of makes sense, but it's like, I would have liked a bit of detective work shown.
Yeah, but they're not going to show that. They don't even give him lines, really.
Yeah, I'm asking a lot for the noir adventures of Boba Fett.
I'd watch noir.
Here's looking at
adventures
you,
of Boba Fett.
Toots. I guess they're not going to do that kind of thing. And it kind of ruins the surprise when they actually get there and Lando betrays them. And it's all like, he arrived just before you did. It's like, oh, thanks, Lando. You couldn't have done something to help us. You couldn't have been like, he could have sent those cloud car pilots to just be like, yeah, turn around, Han. Go away.
We don't like your kind around here.
They could have had Lobot send some like hand signals or something.
Yeah, Lobot couldn't have hacked your comms.
Well, he can't talk, so he wouldn't have helped. He could have sent a message or something to C3PO.
Yeah, but he's got computer head,
Yeah, true. He probably thinks things and they happen. He's like the Professor X of the Star Wars universe. And not just because he's bald. And also the conflict of Luke in this movie. He knows his friends are in danger, and it's either help them or train so that you will not fail the next time. It's an interesting idea.
He clearly chooses wrong.
Also, like, obviously he chooses wrong, yeah. That's how this movie ends.
Although he doesn't really choose wrong because clearly, like, Leia and Han Solo probably would have died if he didn't go help them.
Well, Han would have been still sent to Jabba the Hutt. Leia would have been stuck on Cloud City. Probably would have escaped.
Or actually, no, because Lando makes his decision outside of Leia. So presumably Leia, Chewie, and C-3PO all escape.
They would probably have escaped, yeah. because Luke arrives around the time they're leaving.
Yeah.
They meet up very briefly.
But
And
they
I
aren't
don't think,
like, oh, Luke, it's a trap.
I think she says it's a trap to him.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Or, no, because maybe if Luke doesn't show up, then Vader doesn't leave as quickly, or...
Well, Darth Vader's not distracted if Luke's not there. So he's going to be focusing on them.
Yeah,
is the thing.
exactly. So maybe they don't get away.
But Darth Vader's pretty sure they're going to do it.
They redid the effects for...
Yeah, this stuff here, the CGI, I don't like it. I don't like how they took out what were walls and put windows in for the interior shots. I don't like how it looks because this is dated. This looks like...
Yeah, this looks like Phantom Menace.
This is Battlefront 1 from 2000.
It's not that bad. It does look a lot like Phantom Menace, though.
This is Battlefront on the PSP, which is what I used to play back in the day.
Man, you're really dating yourself there, Steve.
That was my only console.
What are you, born in the 90s? Come on. We're true 2000s people.
I played Flash games.
Flash games.
But there weren't very many Star Wars ones, to be honest.
I wish we had gotten more of the Solo movies. I really liked Solo. Was it dark? Yes. Was it amazing? No. But it was still good.
It was really good, yeah.
I still enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And I really like the actors. And I like the story they were building there.
Yeah.
Like with, I don't know her name, but I'm going to say Daenerys.
Yeah.
Daenerys with the double cross, but
Emilia
not
Clarke,
the double cross. Yeah, Emilia Clarke.
Oh, there's Lando and Lobot. But yeah,
like I think they were building up some good stories. And like
Yeah.
with Maul, like you definitely had a trilogy there.
I think after what Ray Park was doing online, I don't think they were going to go back to Darth Maul.
Oh,
Yeah,
about that.
out of all the Star Wars actors, I thought I'd see their penis. I don't think that would be... He was not on the top of the list.
You sent that to me when it happened. I remember you doing that.
I was in shock.
And me being like, oh my God, why?
I thought he was hacked. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Nope, that was on his own volition.
I forgot about that.
I wish I didn't remember that, but I do.
Oh, no. Why do you have to bring that back into my mind?
Moving on, let's talk about Lando and how cool he is.
He's pretty cool.
I really wish they had brought Billy D. Williams back for more of the sequel movies than they did.
You know, they should have brought, the entire original cast back since in the beginning.
They should have. Like, it was
if you're going to bring them back, bring them all back at the start.
Mm-hmm. I know Billy D. Williams had some, like, health issues around that time. Like, by the time he actually got brought back, he was, like, had to walk with a couple canes, Like, he wasn't, like, going to be action star, but, like, still.
Or maybe you only bring him back for, like, Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think there were plans for that, but they decided against it. It was
really
bizarre. And it feels like they're kind of picking and choosing who they actually like from those shows. Because he's more integral than some of the characters they actually did have.
Yeah, and we should have gotten more Wedge.
Wedge
should have been given more of a role.
I think he was supposed to have a bigger one, but he declined.
Oh.
Because, Dennis Lawson does not like Star Wars that much.
Oh.
And he's like, it's just Star Wars. I don't really care that much.
Well, Wedge, you disappoint me.
I think he was... This is my own thoughts. I think he was supposed to be that guy at the beginning that Kylo Ren talks to, that old guy. I think that was supposed to be Wedge.
That wouldn't have made sense.
I don't know. That's my thought. It's either that guy or he was like...
I like that they got the Werner Herzog off-brand.
Yeah.
Even though that guy within himself is actually pretty famous.
Yeah, Max von Sydow. He played Ming the Merciless in the 1980s Flash Gordon movie. I like how Chewie doesn't even bother looking any further. He's just like, oh, I lost C-3PO. Time to cry.
Look at R2.
He's ready to go. I like when in the original movie they had to have these cranes to load him in. He's just on top somehow.
Force.
Yeah, the force crane. Ben Kenobi in the flesh? No way.
Also, Luke doesn't even question that he's a Force ghost. He's like, this makes sense.
He's like, I've seen this before. This is nothing new. So can like anyone become a Force ghost? Can I see Biggs Darklighter and like my aunt and uncle? No.
Dead they are.
Dead they are. Forever darkness they are in.
Afterlife there is not. No,
Only
this I do.
Only chosen few may live again. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to be stuck with you guys.
Nope. Us. You have. And Qui-Gon.
Just
You
me.
have not met.
Yes, Qui-Gon is a great Jedi. Hello there.
Could you imagine if they went back and retconned Qui-Gon to these scenes?
I would have preferred that they put Qui-Gon instead of Hayden Christensen, to be honest, in the end of Return of the Jedi.
Just Qui-Gon shows up for no reason.
Yeah, he's just futzing around in the background, just kicking cans and things.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
I've got a particular set of skills. They're pretty useful for a Jedi. See, there's he keeps all the stuff underneath. That's in his trunk.
I don't think Obi-Wan and Yoda handled this moment well. Specifically Obi-Wan, because of the experience that he had dealing with Anakin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like...
Like, I know, obviously, it wasn't thought out
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, but it's just one of those things that, like, they don't handle this moment well.
Alec Guinness's decision to just put his hands up. It's like that was an acting choice. Like, why is he doing that?
He's trying to get him to, like, stop.
No, Luke. Look at my hands. Stop, please. I know you can't hear me talking. These are hand signals. I'm sorry, guys. I can't hear you. You're breaking up. He was our last hope.
It's cool that it fades to black, kind of, and then you get the spotlight on Yoda.
And the red, too. I always liked that when I was a kid watching this and seeing that, like... Well, not a kid. I was like a teenager when I saw this. But, like, the red kind of going off of him. From the ship taking off.
I mean, from a realism standpoint, doesn't make a ton of sense, but it does look cool. Man, they really trashed Cloud City.
All of these beautiful paintings that they did are now just... Look at... They used to be a matte painting.
Yeah, what the heck?
It looks so hideous.
Why'd they get rid of this? Like, this looks bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that... I love that pillar in the middle. When they did that giant Lego Cloud City set, they rebuilt that. That's one of the things you do in it. Yeah. That's not going to be one we buy, Will. I'm not gonna... It's too big. I have no room. Rivendell was enough.
I like that they give them fresh clothes.
Yeah. Although they wear it for like... Well, they give Leia fresh clothes. Han's wearing the same stuff.
Yeah, but Han is beyond fresh clothes.
There's no saving him. Die in the filth. Speaking of filth.
What is that guy on the right there? Is that a robot or what?
That was that robot bounty hunter's head.
Oh,
That's that prop reused, and also IG-88's behind them as well. I think they have retconned, like in some stories, that those are the actual bounty hunters that made it there, but got killed.
Oh, well, that's dark.
I love the Ugnaughts just chucking bits of C-3PO around.
Oh, I really like the Ugnaught in Mandalorian. That was one thing where like him talking about the like Ugnaughts being enslaved. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, for a franchise with a lot of slavery in it, they don't really touch on it very often.
Nope.
They're very like, yeah, it happened, brushing it under the table.
Kind of makes sense on a galactic scale. It's probably hard to stop slavery.
Yeah, for sure. So, and Lando shows up, and the romance can go in any direction now.
It's a romance square.
It's a square, but by the next film, it becomes just a triangle again.
Or no, square would be 4 option. No, it's still a triangle. No, square. Yes,
It's a dot in the middle with...
it's a diamond.
It's a dot in the middle with 3 things branching off of it.
It's a diamond. That's what it is. Because you get
Also, that guy... Look at that guy. He's like walking with the Ugnaughts, and he's wearing their clothes, but he's not an Ugnaught. That's the only time you see actual children in the original trilogy. Those little kids over there.
I did not know that.
Hey, Lobot! Yeah, we didn't even see an elevator go behind them. It just doesn't match well, This is the deal to get rid of the Empire. We're going to bring the Empire in.
Yeah, I don't get why he thought that would get rid of the Empire.
Also, Vader just like blocking those blaster bolts with his hand. I don't think this has been done
yeah,
maybe
again?
in Rogue One I think they did it once. But like that's something you wouldn't expect. Yeah, this movie Vader has some like resistances to weapons that are a bit iffy. Like the blaster stuff in the fight with Luke, he gets slashed on the arm. It doesn't cut his hand off, you know?
Yeah. Well, I saw something talking about that lightsabers could have an edge.
Yeah, it's an idea.
So like a sword, if you don't hit on the edge, it's not necessarily going to cut.
Yeah.
But since it is a lightsaber, if you hit on the flat, it's still going to do damage.
They are kind of depicted, though, as more rounded, though.
They are, but it's a light, so I don't know. I thought it was just an interesting idea.
I don't know, it doesn't exist. We shouldn't be arguing about this. We're not like...
No, but it's an interesting concept.
True.
Man, Chewbacca really gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah. Now he can focus and rebuild his best friend. The only other person he's left with by the end of the series.
Yeah, literally.
And R2-D2, I guess, but...
R2-D2 is not even relevant in the next, like, in the new trilogy.
Yeah, he's like asleep for one episode.
I know. Yeah, he's asleep for one of them, and then he barely does anything. He just kind of stands around with
Yeah,
Rey.
He's on the Falcon, he talks to Luke, it shows the message again,
And
just doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, like, they really did not utilize him whatsoever.
C-3PO, at least, like, he had lines, you know, he was in the stuff. And in The Rise of Skywalker, he does get used more than in any of the other ones combined, I think. But still, it's, you know... It's a sad state of affairs when, like...
And I get they replaced, like, R2 with BB-8, but still.
Yeah, well, no one replaced C-3PO. They didn't bother to do, like, another weird droid.
They didn't give BB-8 a friend.
Yeah, well, I feel like they'd probably be, like, a bit too similar with how much they were copying, you know?
Yeah, well, they ripped Force Awakens straight from A New Hope, basically shot for shot.
Basically, yeah. Harrison Ford is good at screaming.
Yeah, you got to be good at screaming if you're going to be an actor. I don't really get what they did to torture him either.
They just poked him. Poked and prodded. He just saw the needles and he's like, no, I'll tell you anything. Low bot. I don't know how they managed to get those, like, flashing lights on his head, like, back in 1988. Like, that seems... Or not 1988, 1980. That seems pretty early for, like, those kind of lights for something so small, you know? It's very impressive.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
No shit.
I have to wear this tutu. Ride around on a unicycle in clown shoes. This deal will suit me just fine.
I don't mind him.
No, it's not bad. Also, the actor who plays Lobot, that's John... Fuck.
You don't remember his name?
I had it a second ago. John Hollis, yes. And he appeared in a really interesting episode of Doctor Who. But what you'd probably see him in is as one of the Kryptonian elders in the Donner Superman movies, both in the first one and the second one.
So what you're saying is he kind of looks like Superman.
No, I wouldn't say that. He looks like the guys who banished Jor-El, or not Jor-El, like Zod to that mirror dimension. Along with many, many other famous British actors who are in those scenes.
Man, Star Wars has the greatest insults.
They're pretty good, yeah.
They're like old-timey insults, like Monty Python-esque insults.
Almost, yeah. They just kind of trail on and on. No duh. Onto the most uncomfortable bed imaginable.
Yeah, I don't get the whole, like, why does the bed pop out of the wall? Also, could you just prank your cellmate by hitting the button and the bed disappears?
Retracting it, just landing on the ground, concussed.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even big enough for him. That's a good line. I like that, where he's talking about how Vader's using this entirely just to get to Luke. Also, it's interesting that both Han and Leia get tortured by Darth Vader.
Although it seems like Leia got more tortured. Like, It only seemed like Han got tortured for like a couple seconds.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Like just a little bit of torture.
Just a little skin off the top. And here's Lando's redemption. He's going to try to help them.
I like that Lando doesn't even care that Han punched him in the face.
Oh no, they're too good of friends to let that get between them.
Well, and they both understand why the other did what they did, too.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Like, they weren't motivated by greed or self-interest. It's done for the better of other people that they do these things to each other.
Man, that's a great set.
It's beautiful, yeah, and the lighting, too.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
And the smoke.
And the smoke. And the little Ugnots with the hoses and things. Not enough hoses in sci-fi these days. I think I've rattled on about that a few times.
Lack of hoses.
Yeah.
Man, Lobot had the easiest acting job. He just had to stand there.
Stand there, open and close his eyes. Hit his marks.
Hitting marks is hard. Having tried to do it, for whatever reason, a lot of the time in school.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of anything, but I think it's just because people didn't want to do it, and then I just was like, okay, I guess I can do it.
Yeah.
I had to read lines, for people to set up and like film and things.
Mm-hmm.
I was the worst actor. People hated me trying to act for them because I couldn't remember lines, so I just say whatever.
Yeah, staring at the floor. Where's the tape I'm supposed to hit?
I could hit marks, but remembering dialogue I could not do for the life of me. Because we get the dialogue like at the beginning of class, and then they're like, oh, you got to say this huge monologue from like Monte Carlo, and I'm like, I can't remember this.
Yeah, for sure. Also, the sound design. You gotta give Ben Burt another round of applause for this. Just the squeaking and the
puffs.
puffs, yeah. Yeah, all the sounds. The Empire's just gonna match any money that he would have lost, which is kind of funny.
I like that Vader's like doesn't want Boba Fett to shoot Chewie.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Because why would Darth Vader stop him? Like, what does it matter if he shoots Chewie?
I don't know. I feel like he's got some other plans, I think, maybe.
God, that's good lighting.
It's beautiful, yeah. I love you. I know. Such good delivery.
Yeah, I feel like that line, if it was anyone else, wouldn't really work.
No, because it would come off as sarcastic, but like there's a genuine, like, thoughts behind them.
It also is built on character, which I think is good too.
Built up throughout the film.
I think Chewie yelling through it this whole thing is a really good detail too.
It's very effective. It's gives a lot of characters.
Yeah, C-3PO being like, "Yo, I can't see. Turn around." It's so selfish. Come on, C-3PO.
I can't see what's going on. I need to see this intense.
That's a big claw.
Set piece.
The claw.
The claw. Yeah. A lot of these actors too are really good at emoting without any sort of
look at
like
that
dialogue.
Look at that face. It's a sad looking face right there. I don't think carbonite was ever really explained well.
No, it doesn't need to be though.
No, it doesn't. Because they're like, what if he dies? He looks pretty dead to me.
What if he doesn't survive? Also, he's got the different shirt on.
Well, low column A, low column B.
Low column B. Back to Lego again.
Is that not a reused shot? That looked like a like a reused shot.
But speaking about those shirts and stuff, Lego has simply refused to make an accurate version of Harrison Ford from the original Star Wars movie. Because the way the shirts are cut...
There's too much man cleavage.
No. That's not the issue. Nice callback, though. The way it's folded. In Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, he's got a shirt that folds.
Yeah.
Whereas in A New Hope, it's just a straight V collar.
Uh-huh.
And they haven't done an actual straight V collar for A New Hope. Han Solo since like 2007. Since like back in the days when they were just stopping to making the Lego like yellow, you know. It's been a long time, but they've constantly just been reusing the same kind of design of that folded collar. It's just not accurate.
Damn.
Not that anyone notices or cares, but
You notice and you care.
I notice and I care. I'm the one who notices.
The sass of Darth Vader being like, "Pray I don't alter the deal again."
Pray I don't alter it further.
It's a pretty good line.
It's good, yeah. And the weird like sanitized look of Cloud City now has this different feel.
Yeah.
Now that it's not prosperous. There's not people. There's no kids running around now. Everything is just clinical.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah. It's like a hospital now. They're like pulling Han Solo on like a Gertie almost.
That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And the lighting of Cloud City. Like the sets, they just look good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to...
I'm pretty sure in the earlier shots when they were going down that hallway, those windows had been replaced, and now they are not replaced.
It could just be a different section.
I don't think so, Will. This looks pretty similar.
You don't know.
I don't know, but I'm going to say it because I don't like what George did to these films. I respect the man as a creative. I think he is a phenomenal talent who didn't really get as much as he wanted out of these things. But to impose his new versions of them has been a mistake, I think. Especially with how inconsistent they are, as we pointed out throughout these discussions.
Well, I think not giving people the option to have the original version.
Yes, that's the biggest thing, is the lack of preservation of the original version. I'm pretty sure that Imperial officer is the guy who plays Boba Fett. Like, as the body of him. I might be mistaken. That might be some other random guy who did something else, but I'm pretty sure that's him.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What would be interesting is if we got a remake of Star Wars, the original trilogy. Like a shot-for-shot remake, but with modern tech, how that would look. Honestly, my money's on it would look worse.
Probably.
Like,
there are certain just the techniques, the way things were made, and the way things were done for these films. Like, cinema has changed so much. It wouldn't be the same.
Mm-hmm. Like, not that Star Wars looked bad when they did it, but I think
No.
it just wouldn't have the same feel.
No, and it wouldn't have the same kind of appeal either. Like, people wouldn't like it as much, I don't think.
Although, I guess we'll see how Dune Part 2 looks.
Yeah, well, that's probably our closest comparison.
Because Dune 1 looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the most iconic shots, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
With, like, the forced perspective hallway thing, which is a little iffy.
And the orange and the blue. It just works.
The color and the silhouette of Darth Vader. It just looks really good. And all the geometric shapes as well around it.
And the lightsabers.
Yeah.
Because this is when you, like, fully get lightsabers looking lightsabery.
And this is where the action goes from two old guys hitting each other with sticks to, like, hardcore.
I mean, it's no Obi-Wan versus Anakin, but, you know.
Well, you know.
It's still good. It's better. I would say this duel is better than the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy felt wrong. I don't know what it is about it. They just felt untrained, whereas this feels more like... I don't know. This just feels better. Is it a little goofy with, like, the spins and things? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. But I've seen, like, a lot of the takes of them practicing, and they spent a long time doing this.
I think what makes it feel good and what makes it work is that Vader would be such a master compared to Luke that he doesn't have to try. So if Luke comes off as looking stupid, it's just Vader's one hand like, whatever.
And he doesn't express anything with his face either. Like, it's all body language.
Whereas you get Kylo versus Rey, where Kylo should be essentially a Force god compared to Rey.
Yeah.
But Rey kicks his ass. Doesn't make sense.
No, especially if you're not that early on in the trilogy. You can build up to it. Like Luke will eventually defeat Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly. Or like,
but he didn't do it in A New Hope.
Rey could beat Kylo's ass in, say, what's the third one called again?
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker. If Rey kicks Kylo's ass, makes sense.
Yeah, it would.
But she she with Luke and she trained with Leia. But
yeah.
the first one, she hadn't even picked up a lightsaber.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I don't know. She's shown that she can use her staff, so clearly she can fight, which makes sense. But lightsabers are always something that people have been shown to need to train with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Especially when you fight against a master who's been trained by the new Jedi Order since birth.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It don't make sense.
No.
Also, the luck of R2 to just find them.
Yeah, just wander in this entire city. He's just like, oh, I guess I found him. Some more digitally priced windows. And here we go. Some action.
Pew, 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 pew.
Goodbye, Boba Fett. See you in the next one.
Wait, what was that silhouette there? He looked like he was like scratching his butt.
Maybe. When you got the itch, you gotta scratch it, you know?
Part of me is tempted to rewind, but I don't want to.
Well, that defeats the point of a commentary, Will.
I know.
Unless anyone else is gonna rewind the exact same amount as us. It ain't gonna happen.
See, it just seems like, for this, it just seems like Vader's toying with Luke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the combat feeling a little, like, janky works.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's also trying to get Luke into the carbon freezing chamber. That's kind of his plan. Is to freeze Luke. When that doesn't work, it's like, okay, just fuck this guy up. Also, it was closed in the last shot, and then it opened up. Force jump. Which you don't see again until probably the Phantom Menace. I don't think they do it in Return of the Jedi, at least not to that extent.
Well, doesn't someone jump in Return of the Jedi?
Maybe a lot. I can't think of anything specific, but I'm sure there is something.
Oh, that was a good moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan didn't really teach him anything. It's all Yoda. Obi-Wan taught him all he knew by the time they duel on.
Yeah, Obi-Wan hasn't taught him jack shit.
Yeah, like really, Yoda taught him stuff. And Yoda, they never showed Luke training with a lightsaber, so I don't know why he got good with it. But off screen, he probably trained with it. I guess.
Might have. He defeated that weird ghost version of Darth Vader.
Yeah, with one swing.
Yeah. So Luke kind of has this overconfidence in him too. He's like, "Yeah, I'll beat him." I like how they parodied this shot in Toy Story 2. In that that Buzz Lightyear video game.
Oh yeah, with the Buzz Lightyear. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Buzz Lightyear is meant to kind of be a Luke-esque character.
Sort of, yeah.
And
well, they really hammer that home with Toy Story 2 with like Zurg.
Yeah, Zurg. Zurg is like basically Darth Vader.
Basically, yeah.
It's such an iconic, like, it just looks cool.
And when they did remake some of these shots in The Force Awakens, at least the sets for that Force Vision, they did a really good job, and it shows how iconic some of these places are, even though they're just like weird diagonal walls, you know?
Well, I feel, though, when you think about those shots, this location doesn't seem quite as clean. It's probably because, like, the paint job is not as nice or things like that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can see kind of where the paint is.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. Or, like, you see some imperfections on...
Oh, definitely.
On the metal that they're using or things like that. Whereas Force Awakens, everything just looks pristine.
Yeah, true.
Like, on that big circle, you can kind of see, like, the paint and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's just one of those things where... It's good you get those things.
Yeah, it gives it a bit of charm.
It gives it relatability. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, also the retcon of someone just finding Luke's lightsaber out of this.
Yeah, like how?
So stupid.
Did they find the hand that was attached to it as well?
Like it falls into a gas giant, presumably.
Presumably, yeah.
Don't make sense.
Well, Will, it's a good story for another time that they never told.
Yeah.
Talk about lampshading a problem, eh?
It's just how JJ operates. JJ overrated director, in my opinion.
I think that's in a lot of people's opinion these days.
I know, but you and I have been talking about that since like high school. Like
it's been a while.
Grade 10, we had this conversation. That's like what? True. 8 years ago?
Yeah. Well, that's about when that movie came out. Give or take a year or two.
Or no, because 2024, so it'd be
about 9 years that movie came out.
9 years.
Yeah. Boy,
we had that conversation. I don't know.
Oh, there we go. Woodrow Hood.
Ice cream maker.
Ice cream maker. The best extra in all of Star Wars.
I don't know why that became so iconic. You can't even tell what he's carrying. That literally was in there for like what, 6 frames?
Yeah, like 7 or 8 frames, maybe like a second and a half.
Yeah, like it's just like you get like 20. You maybe get 36 frames of the ice cream guy.
Yeah, and most of them are probably blurry. There we go. Look at that. I love how in this movie, or in these movies at least, the actual effects of the blasters hitting humans is like really intense.
You see the burns and things. Mm-hmm. I think that's something too that's really good is that you don't get in a lot of things too is VFX damage never really reflects. Like say with the new Avatar series, God, check out my reviews of that.
Yeah, plug.
But one of the things I noticed, no one gets wet. Waterbender bends water on someone. There's not a drop of water on that person. You can't just splash a bucket of water on a guy. Come on, it's not that hard.
No.
Like, I get, whatever, you don't want to be wet on set. Sure, fair enough.
Yeah.
But come on, you just splash of water all over the people.
And Star Wars, it's kind of like the opposite of that. Like, everything's just on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone takes damage. C-3PO's...
They're dragging his corpse. There's smoke everywhere. It's always like it's just little squibs going off, burning. Like
it's just gross and disgusting. Mm-hmm. Also, the scale of Star Wars, like you just get these giant crevasse of technology.
These massive pits that lead nowhere, and you can chuck Sith Lords down there or Jedi if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, but then somehow they returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow Darth Maul returned. Somehow Luke Skywalker returned. Somehow Luke Skywalker's hand returned.
Vader actually start trying here, and he just wrecks Luke.
Oh, he just wipes the floor with this guy. Luke gets like one good shot at him, and then loses his hand.
Yeah, like this fight, it's so good. It's not even like that. It's not even that well choreographed compared to what we get later on. Mm-hmm. But yet it's somehow better choreography than the sequels. Like, I don't know. There's just something about the sequels. The lightsaber fighting feels wrong. I don't know that if it's just slow and feels heavy, but look how much faster they are.
Yeah. Just quick movements. Not like super quick like in the prequels, but like still like...
No, but it's still fast. It has pacing.
Yeah, there's a fluidity to the motion. It's not just, hitting your marks. It's like everything mixes together. And I think, also having 3 years to work on a movie versus like 2 at max... It makes a difference.
Maybe, but I don't think they were practicing that fight for 3 years.
No,
they
probably not.
Practiced this fight for a couple weeks.
But probably much longer than they did on any of the other movies, I would say.
Probably not for Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, maybe not the prequels.
They practiced that a lot.
But like for the sequels at least, I think they probably practiced this kind of stuff more.
I also think though too the difference maybe even is that Anakin not Anakin, that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, they enjoyed practicing with lightsabers. Like I think if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, they talked about it and they're like, "Oh yeah, we loved like fighting each other."
Yeah, absolutely.
And like working on it. Like I mean, who wouldn't? If you gave me a prop lightsaber, like, okay, you're gonna get to be in Star Wars, you're gonna get a duel.
Yeah,
I'm gonna practice that shit every day.
Pretty much, yeah. I like how we just talked over the most important moment in like the last 30 years of cinema.
Well,
40 probably. 45 actually, I think, at this point.
It's a good reveal.
It's pretty good. It's classic for a reason.
And the nose, it's good reaction. Mm-hmm.
Although I do like the alternative version of Obi-Wan killed your father, which was like the actual line that they said on set.
Except neither of them are actually true. Like, I am your father. Yeah, obviously that's true. But Obi-Wan killed your father. Also not true.
Well, the way he talks about it, it kind of is. Like, in Obi-Wan's perspective, from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, obviously they're both right.
Yeah.
But, you're not dead.
Yeah, no, I know. I like it as a twist, like as an alternate version of the series. And having Obi-Wan turn out to be a villain in someone's eyes is really a neat idea.
In Anakin's eyes, Obi-Wan is a villain.
True, okay.
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view.
I mean, he literally chopped you up, left you to die on the bank of a lava, let you catch on fire.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Then you are lost! Oh, epic moment. I can't wait. I don't get how he lands on the one spot that leads to, like...
Yeah, on this, like, little antenna. There goes his hand.
Wait, is that actually his hand?
I think so.
Oh.
Somehow, Maz Kanata found the hand.
I hate that.
Somehow Luke Skywalker's
Like,
hands
I'm
returned.
fine with the lightsaber coming back, but it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Like, how you find that? So dumb.
And the insistence on using that prop instead of, like, just going back to the green one or something else. Like, they are obsessed with the blue lightsaber. And it's iconic. I get it. It's marketable. But it's, like... I don't know.
Make it Anakin's lightsaber. Or I guess that is
It is Anakin's lightsaber. It's a bit overrated.
Make
though,
it Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
Yeah. That's... Darth Vader probably has it somewhere.
Exactly.
Probably kept it.
Like, someone's like, oh, we stole this from the Imperials or something. Like, I don't know. Make it Yoda's lightsaber. Oh, no, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
Make it a custom lightsaber.
It's Qui-Gon's lightsaber.
Have the droid guy that can make lightsabers, because he would have been canon by that point from the Clone Wars TV show.
True.
Make it so he gives Rey a lightsaber. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they bring the droid guy in Ahsoka, so clearly they thought about it. So, I don't know.
Here's Leia using the Force for once.
Yeah. I don't think they utilized Jedi Leia well.
I think they have to, like, force Lando's hand. He's like, okay, fine, I'll do it, I guess. Like,
Yeah, they really didn't use Jedi Leia well at all.
well, it wasn't really their idea until the last minute, though.
I know.
That's a new line for that. And also, this shot's all new.
It is a good looking shot, though.
It's cool. It's cool, like, conceptually. And they're also going to do another shot later. I'll point it out. That's reused from Return of the Jedi.
Really?
Yeah, Vader going into the shuttle up onto the Star Destroyer. It's taken from the opening, like, 5 minutes of Return of the Jedi.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not this one here. This is remade. And not this either, but the actual landing inside the ship. And
Man,
I don't
Luke-
like it. It's a weird pacing thing because it kind of ruins this rescue a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I remember them, like, it's really only just shots of this rescue.
Yeah, you don't need the context of Vader going into the ship. Like,
No,
you know,
no, you can understand that.
yeah, he's like, prepare my shuttle. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, I got it. Get into the shuttle. Like,
Also, Luke would be like, who are you?
who's this guy?
Also, the commitment to just falling.
Yeah, I don't remember that being like that. I thought there was another shot in between there. I might be misremembering that, though. I might be thinking of the Robot Chicken sketch where Luke makes a very racist accusation against Lando. I love that they actually got Billy D. Williams to do, like, all the Robot Chicken stuff. Like, he's down for anything Star Wars.
Well, Billy D. Williams will voice any character. He voices a character in the Lego Batman because he did
Yeah.
Two-Face, because he was supposed to be Two-Face.
Yeah.
And I think he's done a couple other things.
This shot here. Well, maybe not this one exactly, but upcoming.
Yeah, this shot.
Either
doesn't-
this one or I think the next one.
The shot doesn't feel very necessary.
Yeah, this here. This is from Return of the Jedi. And you can see the officer meeting him as Moff Jerjerrod, who's supposed to be on top of the Death Star. See, there he is.
Huh.
Lord Vader, I still need more troops. We're not going to finish this on time.
Yeah, this does make sense.
Oh, there's another kiss.
Wait, yeah, she kissed him.
There's a
Wait,
beautiful
that really is a love triangle.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
I mean, you can throw Chewie in there too if you want, but I don't think it's going to...
I don't know if she's that into Chewie. Chewie's just
She's got more screen time with Chewie than she does with, like, most of these other characters, though. In this movie, she's got more screen time with with Chewie than she has with Luke.
She might have more screen time with Chewie than she even does Lando.
I think so, yeah.
Interesting. The way Chewie looks at her and then looks at Lando, that was pretty good.
He's like, it's supposed to be fixed.
And he starts banging shit.
Just ripping plugs out of the sockets and
No
things.
wonder it's broken.
Tearing up wires.
I always like the detail that the Falcon was Lando's, but then Han got it and just trashed it.
Yeah, just Han is filthy.
It's like when I got my. It's like when you get a car from your
Yeah.
grandma.
Yeah.
Except, well, my grandma didn't really take care of her car, so I got it already kind of rough. But you know, it was still a nice gift.
Yeah. And then you ruined it even more.
Or like when you get like, I don't know, you get something from someone, and then they like always took care of it.
Yeah.
Or no, it's like when you give a toy to your cousins.
Yeah, they just destroy it.
Yeah, and it's like means something to you. You've saved it your entire life, and then you give it to them, and then like a day later, they're like, "Oh, I broke it." And you're like, "What do you mean you broke it?"
I broke it. It's like, you know how long I spent keeping this safe. Also, they put a lot of nice polish on Vader's helmet.
Yeah, they did. Well, because Vader's helmet in A New Hope looks pretty rough. Like, you see fingerprints and all sorts of things on it.
It's greasy looking.
I think they took more care on it.
I think they might have remade it for this. I know there's some slight differences with how the actual dome part is placed on top of it. It's a slightly a different spot elevation wise.
And Chewie's just hitting things. He doesn't know what he's
everyone's
doing.
just breaking stuff. Everyone in Star Wars just doesn't care about things. They just break things. I like Luke's little medical gauntlet.
Yeah, that's a cool detail.
Vader.
The Imperial officer's just looking at Vader like, who are you talking to?
He's not talking to me.
My name's not Luke. Are you Luke?
Is your name Luke? No.
I love the sound design of the TIE fighters. It's always so good.
Maybe that guy's Luke. The guy with the really dark looking lighting on his face. Come fix me, please, R2. I'm going to fall.
Oh, R2 down in the hole.
Down he goes with his scream.
I like that Han and Chewie and Leia actually could not fix the ship for the life of them. They don't even jump to hyperspace at all in this film until that moment.
Yeah.
Where R2 goes and diddles a wire, and then that's it.
Yeah, that was the problem the whole time.
It was just one undiddled wire.
Well, I think they fixed it on Cloud City, but it was deactivated before they could leave.
Oh, right.
That's what was going for.
Oh, those are some good-looking ships.
Nice Nebulon B frigate. Beautiful.
I didn't know what that was called. I didn't need to know that, but now I do.
Now you do. And you're never going to forget it.
I definitely will.
You're going to forget it by tomorrow.
Probably by like the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're not going to remember by the time this movie ends. Yeah.
Yeah, they must have recomped some of these engines. Because, like, say that blue one on the left versus the one on the right doesn't look the same. Like, they don't match.
And I know they had to redo some of these model shots when they were making the film. Also, he's wearing Han's clothes. Because it wasn't up to their kind of quality of the rest of the models. I think it might have been after they had a very small like theatrical release, and then they went back and fixed it.
Man, the music, John Williams.
Yeah, I like how everyone's kind of returning to their clothing from A New Hope.
Yeah, even Lando kind of steals Han Solo's look.
Yeah, he's got his like shirt and like vest and everything from the medal ceremony.
Like they really did set it up that if Harrison Ford did want to come back.
Mm-hmm. Lando's the new Han Solo.
Yeah, really. They did set it up that way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you think George Lucas would have gone the route of making Luke and Leia siblings if Harrison Ford didn't come back? Because that changes the love triangle.
It changes things up, yeah. And they're definitely hinting at a romance here. I think they did that change because they wanted to end off the series and kind of do that. Because by the time they got to Return of the Jedi, George was like, kind of out of it. Although he still wanted to like make all the money off of toys, so he was like, "Yeah, we'll make it kid friendly or whatever." And that's kind of why a lot of the people involved with these other films kind of split ways. I think he might have changed things. Well, if Harrison Ford didn't come back at all, they would have changed things for sure. But
well, of course. But like, because that was part of it is that he didn't really want to come back.
They might have done something else. They might have made some other character be related in some way. I don't know who they would have chosen, though.
No, but it's just an interesting
They
thought.
might have introduced another character who would have been Luke's relative or something.
It's an interesting thought. Like a
Definitely. Oh, there we go. Irvin Kershner, a fantastic director. Gary Kurtz.
He produced basically all the Star Wars, didn't he?
No, he ends after this.
Oh.
He breaks apart with George when they're making Return
Wait,
of
the
the Jedi.
screenplay wasn't even by George?
Not entirely. No, he contributed some stuff, but mostly like it's Lawrence Kasdan. And,
Oh.
there was some other lady who worked on it early on.
I thought the screenplay was by George. I did not know that.
For some of the movies it is, but this one not.
Billy D.
Billy D. Anthony D. D. Prowse.
P. May.
Good old Frank O's.
Frank Ounce.
Frank O's. I don't know who this guy is.
I don't know. Production designer.
I like his work.
Yeah,
There we go.
Peter
Shuzinski.
He has the BSC title. That's good. ACE. Paul Hirsch. All right, that has been Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back with Will and Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, John Williams, absolute legend.
Fantastic. Look at the little copyright material at the bottom.
Please like and subscribe.
You will subscribe.
And the next one of these will likely be Return of the Jedi.
More than likely, yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. We might throw a curveball in there.
You never know.
Who knows? All right. See ya later.